Alright, so I thought I'd just make a video to help you choose which fishing line to use for certain situations, scenarios. So obviously in front of me, I've got FishingSir's full range of lines. I've got the Fluoro Pro, the Mono Pro, the Godline X8 braid, Godline S braid, and just the straight up Godline braid. So I'm going to go through probably why you would use each line and give a situation where it's probably the most effective line. So the Fluoro Pro, obviously being a fluorocarbon based line, super invisible in water. So this is perfect for using, I use it as leaders a lot of the time, it's really good for that. But it's also really good for when the fish are super spooky and you need a super invisible line that cannot be seen. That's where the Fluoro Pro comes into its own, because it is completely invisible underwater. Similarly, the Mono Pro, Mono is also quite invisible underwater when compared to braid. It's also, Mono's main advantage is very good abrasion resistance, and it's also very good for beginners. Doesn't knot with wind casting as much as braid does, but it has very strong knot strength when you tie knots, and it's also a lot of really easy knots work really well with Mono. One of its downsides is often it has quite a larger diameter, so you don't fit as much on the spool, also sacrifice a bit of casting distance when using it. Similar issues with Fluoro Pro, both those kind of monofilamenty type lines. So the God lines. So when we get to the braid's really come along the last couple of years. Braid really good for long casts, small diameters. Gives you no stretch in braid, so it gives you a really good feel of your lure, and you know exactly where it is, exactly when something hits. So we've got three types. So this is obviously, in my opinion, where it comes in quite confusing. As you go, I want to use a braid. Which braid do I use? So we've got the three here. So Godline X8 is 8 strands, whereas Godline S and this Godline are 4 strands. So you may be going, what's the difference between them? Basically, 8 strands is wound finer. There's more strands in the braid, which weaves it. So the main advantages of an 8 strand is it's a much smoother line, so you often get smaller diameters and better casting, because it's that bit much smoother. With the 4 strands, casting's not as good, a little bit more noisy when you're reeling, when you're casting, but they really come with their own. Is their abrasion resistance is better than 8 strands. So the main difference between the Godline S and Godline in these cases is Godline S is super thin. Its diameter is really small. So for me, when I'm fishing, if I go, I need really good casting distance. I'm doing a lot of casting, especially in oceans where its abrasion resistance isn't super required. Godline X8 is my first call every time. Casting is awesome, knot strength awesome, no wind knots. It's just a very quality braid. When I'm fishing somewhere where maybe there's a lot of seaweed, a lot of kelp, or a lot of logs, I need a bit more abrasion resistance. That's when I'd lean towards one of the 4 strand braids between Godline or Godline S. So generally, I'm not a massive fan of the super thin diameters. A lot of the fish I fish for aren't super picky when it comes to that. But if you're fishing really finesse styles, really light, and really thin diameters are important, Godline S is your call. You can fish a higher pounded weight with a much thinner diameter. So it gets your lures out in more situations. The line's not going to break. And that's one of the real positives I found. When I could normally fish, say a 15 pound braid, I can fish a 30 pound Godline S. That's about the same diameter. And I get much more on my lures back, saving my money. However, if I'm not after that, I will go with the normal Godline. It's a little bit thicker in diameter, but also thickness gives better abrasion resistance. So it is a positive in that sense. Pretty much to wrap up, if you're using braid and you're after good casting, Godline X8. If you're after really thin lines, it's Godline S. And if you're after a bit more abrasion resistance and just a general all-rounder, straight up Godline is your call. If you're fishing, new to fishing, haven't done much at all, the Mono Pro is probably the way to go. But you can go one of the braids, they are totally fine. Just the Mono Pro is just a very nice monofilament, clear line, doesn't split the fish at all. Whereas a Fluoro Pro, A little bit more advanced than the Mono Pro. Really good for super finicky fish. Fish that do not see the line and are spooked. Fluoro Pro is a very good option. And a Fluoro Pro is a very good option as using a leader, especially when lure fishing these days. Don't want those fish to be able to see the braid, so you can put a little Fluoro Pro leader on. Gives you the advantage of both words. You get the God line, you get the high feeling, good casts, and then you get the Fluoro Pro, you get the invisibleness, and they cannot see a lure. So if you have any issues in choosing a line, need any help, please comment, send us a message. More than happy to help answer your questions. If you do want to pick up any of these products, FishingSir.com is where to go, or head on to Amazon, search FishingSir, they'll have all the products there. If you also go down in the comments, there will be a discount code, so please look forward to using that. It'll be 15% off. You can go onto their website, use that. These braids are already very cheap lines and they're very high quality, so I'd definitely test one out before you go and spend your money on another high-end, high-price brand.